Hello, YouTubers and NFL fans everywhere. This is Matt, the NFL Fanatic, giving you my Super Bowl 50 prediction and analysis. Well, the season is drawing to a close, and it's very bittersweet. It's been a great 2015-2016 season, both regular and post. So many exciting finishes, so many great stories, so many shocks of positive, so many shocks of negative, and it's been a whirlwind of a year. But every football season you get this feeling of just these great stories and teams and ups and downs. But for everybody out there, I am going to say that this is, I am probably going to do a year in review video later down the road. It might not be the exact week after, the week after the Super Bowl, but I will do a year in review video. And please, anybody that has any football questions or any football topics or any topics in general that you would like me to put my thoughts on, please put in the comment section. If I have time or if I find time, I'll definitely do a video on them and give my thoughts. And I'd love for anybody to comment and see if they disagree or agree, or they'd like to put out their own perspective in any of the conversations that I have in the off season. But I do want to thank everybody. I do want to thank all my new subscribers. I do want to thank all my viewers for watching my content, and I appreciate all the positive support that I get, because it makes me feel good that people like my kind of thoughts and like my message out there about the game, about the National Football League and football. So thank you again to all my viewers and all my new subscribers. I'm up to now to 120. So that is about a 64% increase this year, which is incredible. I did not expect to gain 64 new subscribers in a year, so that's great. So, once again, everybody, thank you. But back to last week and the Super Bowl. Last week, I went a perfect 2-0. So now I am 9-1 for the postseason. The only loss I had was thinking that Seattle would beat Carolina. Well, obviously, Carolina's had it out for NFC West teams after what you saw in the NFC Championship game. And now overall for the year, I'm 168-98, which puts me at 63.2% for the year. So 63.5%, that's a good straight up percentage. I'm happy with that. Again, it's right where I'm usually at. So as much as it's frustrating that I like to get better, there's always next year, and I have another good year of consistency. So there we go. But what a crazy AFC and NFC Championship game. I do want to congratulate the Denver Broncos for winning the AFC Championship game. They beat the New England Patriots 20-18, and it was just a pure defensive masterpiece by Wade Phillips and that defense. In my opinion, he is the defensive coordinator of the year for what a sensational job he has done this entire year. Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game was hit 23 times, which is an insane amount for him. The second fewest times he got hit was against Philadelphia in New England. That was when he was hit 12 times. So to get that much pressure on Tom Brady, to get 4.5 sacks, I remember Von Miller said that if he had 2 sacks, they'd win the game, and he got 2.5. So obviously his prediction was correct. But it was a sensational game by the Denver defense. And also now Tom Brady drops to 1-3 in conference title games against Peyton Manning, which is kind of that awkward stat for all the Manning-Brady supporters that in the biggest game for the conference, usually Manning wins. You don't know why, but he does. And also, he now drops to 2-7 all-time in Denver, and now he drops to 5-7 all-time in general against the Denver Broncos. I don't know what it is, but the mile-high rocky air gets to Tom Brady and this Patriot team most of the time, and he just cannot find ways to win games against the Broncos, especially in Denver, Colorado. And again, it was an insane game. You know, the Broncos offense, they had a great first quarter. Peyton Manning threw 2 great touchdowns. That was actually his second and third touchdown he had thrown. It was the first touchdown he had thrown in Denver since week 4 of the season. And I think all 3 of them went to Owen Daniels. No, wait, the one with the Ronnie Owen, I'm sorry. But both his touchdowns went to Owen Daniels, which was insane. That's the only guy that he can somehow connect with on offensive touchdowns. But For Peyton Manning, this is very Hollywood-esque way to end his career. The Denver Broncos now are also appearing in their 8th Super Bowl that's tied with the New England Patriots, Dallas Cowboys, and Pittsburgh Steelers for the most Super Bowl appearances all time for a franchise. So congratulations to them there. And for Peyton Manning, he will also become the oldest quarterback to start in the Super Bowl ever. He's now actually been in 2 of the 3. He's been the guy that's played at the oldest in 2 of the 3 Super Bowls at oldest age. And the other guy that's behind him is John Elway. Yeah, Peyton will be 39 years old in 320 days when he plays Super Bowl 50 on February 7th. So, congratulations to the Broncos. It's been a heck of a ride for Peyton Manning and his team. And I know for the Broncos fans, this is going to be the most appropriate way and the best way to maybe guarantee why John Elway brought Peyton Manning in. Because if he wins this game, this validates that entire contract with what the Broncos wanted to have back in 2012, was to get a Super Bowl. Again, could you argue that, it's still a disappointment that he only got 1 Super Bowl? Yeah, but that's being petty. If he doesn't win it, again, the whole contract, I believe, will be a disappointment. Just because, again, that was not the goal was not to just get the Super Bowl. The goal was to win one. And, now for Peyton probably retiring after this year, now the Broncos have to try to re-sign Brock Osweiler and see if he can be the quarterback that can lead them into the future. I think he's not a bad quarterback, but he's too raw and too inexperienced and unproven to me that I would say that with the Broncos with Brock next year, if Peyton decides to go, would win the AFC West, I would give that to Kansas City because I think they have the most complete team out of that whole division. But I do believe that this contract, if Manning loses this game, will be seen as a disappointment by a majority of fans, especially Broncos fans, because, I remember I said, like last year or even last week, I said if he lost, this contract would have been a bust, and Peyton would be a disappointment as a number 1 overall pick. I will take that back, and I will just go back to the deal. I think going to 4 Super Bowls is not an easy feat, and for him, that's an incredible accomplishment. So I will not call him one of the most disappointing draft picks. I think that, again, getting to a 500 record or getting to, is good enough. And to lose, to win or lose in the Super Bowl for a 4th time, that's way more than enough than the majority of people wins or losses. So there you go. But congratulations to the Denver Broncos. And also, I do want to congratulate the Carolina Panthers for an absolute rout of the Arizona Cardinals. That was one of the most surprising things I'd seen the entire year. Because, playing Seattle just the week before, everybody was going, my God, Arizona, you don't have a lot to go up for where, it's like, man, they were down 31-0, and it was like, man, Arizona, if you can just play any semblance of better, you can make it a tight game. Nope, I was wrong about that, because the Panthers just killed the Cardinals. They put the most points up in a conference championship game in NFL history. The Cardinals committed 7 turnovers in the game, including 6 by Carson Palmer. And the Cardinals as a whole, that was the most turnovers in a postseason game since the 2001 divisional round when Brett Favre's Packers committed 8 turnovers against the Rams. It was the largest defeat in the Bruce Arians era, and it was the largest loss by this Cardinals franchise since they lost 56-0 in 2012 against Seattle in Seattle. And actually, that is the largest loss in the franchise's history ever, that 56-0 loss. So that's pretty insane. I think that everybody now, because it's 2 different perspectives, where for Cam Newton, this has been his year, and this has been the Panthers' year and they've been on a Seattle-type run. They have a lot of guys. They had, they didn't have Calvin Benjamin. They had Ted Ginn, Jericho Cotchery, Philly Brown. Greg Olsen was the legitimate tight end that they had. The defense, that was solid, but nobody thought that, Charles Tillman would have as great a year as he would have. Josh Norman would become this top 5 shutdown corner in the league. Maybe outside of Carolina, but nobody thought this entire team, coming off the year they had, last year, having to win 4 straight games to get in the playoffs, and get in the playoffs with a losing record, Second time in NFL history that's ever happened, behind the 2010 Seattle Seahawks. Nobody ever thought that this team would go 15-1 and look this good. So, congratulations to them. And this is a tremendous confidence booster for this whole franchise, and they look like the best team in the league. And I think playing a Denver team that has just as much motivation on the other end, where they're going to try to win one for Peyton Manning, I just think it's a great culture clash. It's a great culture clash of professionalism, professionalism, old school, pocket passing. You do your job, class personified in the Broncos and Peyton Manning, what he represents and that organization represents, compared to the swagger, the good swagger, the confidence, the aura of, we are the best, come at us, you try to stop us. They had that Seattle kind of mentality. I'm not saying there is some of them are. They're kind of like Norman's, kind of like Sherman back when he was trying to build up himself to where he is now, where you have this confidence and this swagger that just is infectious, and people just gravitate to Cam Newton's, dabbing and the dancing and the Superman Hest pullouts, and it's a great culture clash of old school and new school. And I am extremely excited for this game because of it, and I think it's going to be a sensational game. I don't think both teams, they're going to put their... it's going to be low scoring. I will say I don't think both defenses will give up 49 or 30 points. I think the winner at best could get to... I'll go 21. The winner gets to 21. Because I don't think these defenses will allow them to score over 21 points. But, from my prediction, in this game between the Denver Broncos, the Carolina Panthers going to the Denver Broncos, even though the Broncos are wearing their white jerseys, I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to win Super Bowl 50. And it's one of those things that it's tough because this is so many big things in this game that are intriguing for like Peyton and a lot of unique things. This is the oldest gap between starting QBs in Super Bowl history. Peyton Manning, like I said earlier, will be 39 years old and 320 days, while Cam Newton will be 26 years old and 272 days old. That is a 13-year and 48-day difference, the largest in Super Bowl history when it comes to starting quarterbacks. It's the first time in NFL history that number one quarterbacks are playing each other in the Super Bowl, which I think is incredibly impressive and kind of surprising that did not happen before. And also for Peyton Manning, he is going to his fourth Super Bowl with his fourth different head coach. Tony Dungy, Jim Caldwell, John Fox, and Gary Kubiak have now all played in the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning as their quarterback. So they all should be eternally grateful for how far they have gotten. And I think it's been interesting to see how Peyton Manning, has essentially carried the other three guys to a Super Bowl, while this time it was his defense and his running game that got carried Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl this time, behind Kubiak. And also, when you have the Panthers, this team is very interesting in itself. It's the first time the Panthers are the first team since the 2013 Denver Broncos to score 500 points in a season. And they are now only the fifth team in NFL history to do it, behind the 2013 Broncos, the 2007 Patriots, the 1998 Minnesota Vikings, and the stretch that the 99-01 Rams had when they were the greatest show on turf. The Panthers are also the first team in 30 years to have a 15-1 or to have a record of 15-1 or better going into the Super Bowl. The only other time that's happened in the last 30 years is the 07 Patriots. And also, this is the third straight year with number one seeds facing each other in the Super Bowl. That's never happened under the new format of the playoffs since 1990. And Ron Rivera and Gary Kubiak, I guess for that matter, are, I just realized that because Gary Kubiak was a former backup to John Elway. Ron Rivera and Gary Kubiak are trying to become the fourth former player to win a Super Bowl as a player and a head coach, joining Mike Ditka, Tom Flores, and Tony Dungy. And, so there's all those. unique things about the Super Bowl, and there's some other ones, such as this is the first time in Super Bowl history that the two top picks in a draft are going one-on-one against each other, and they will especially be going one-on-one when you have Cam Newton taking on Von Miller, 1 and 2 pick in the 2011 draft, respectively, which I think is awesome. And here's my favorite one that I found out. This is the third time in the last 40 seasons where we have two SEC quarterbacks playing this Super Bowl. The last 2 times it's happened was the 2006 one, when Peyton Manning representing the University of Tennessee and Rex Grossman representing the University of Florida, and 1976 when Ken Stabler of Alabama took on Fran Tarkenton of Georgia. So I think that's a really cool thing, that because again, the SEC is the dominant conference in college football, and they send a lot of studs, but they don't really send a lot of great quarterbacks. So to see this SEC quarterback matchup, that really has to help their brand and their stock to improve. And also, it's the number 3 rushing defense against the number 2 rushing offense in Carolina, which I think that's going to be a big thing right there. Can the Panthers run on this Broncos defense? You know, so to get back to all the game, there's all the great stats and all the interesting things about the Super Bowl if you want. I'm going to take the Panthers here because I look at the two defenses. They're about a push. You have great linebackers, great rushes in DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, Derek Wolfe, Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall. You have Malik Jackson, and you have a good rush there. In Carolina, you got Kawan Short, Dwan Edwards, Charles Johnson. And then you got linebackers in Davis and Kuechly. And even though Thomas Davis did break his arm, even though he does expect to play in the Super Bowl, which I think is incredibly impressive and tough to see him just after 2 weeks with a broken forearm play in the Super Bowl. And then you have the secondaries of Talib, Harris, Ward, going up against Norman, Josh Norman, Kirk Coleman, Trey Boston, Robert McClain. And you could argue that the Panthers have the better edge on the defensive line, while the Broncos have the better edge at secondary. And then when you look at the offenses, it comes down to me where you have the better wide receivers and the better I guess besides tight end. That goes to Carolina. But the better wide receivers go to Denver, but the better running game goes to Carolina. You know, so there's about a push there where they'll have an advantage at that point. So when you have these games which are essentially equal in most areas, I have to go down to the quarterbacks. And when I look at Peyton Manning, as great as he's been, and he has all the experience and all the motivation, because the last time the Broncos were in the Super Bowl, they got punked by the Seahawks 43-8. So he definitely does not want to get punked again, and definitely that be the lasting memory of the 50th Super Bowl, along with his career. It's something where I just look at Cam Newton, and I look at his year, 3,830 yards, 35 touchdowns through the air, 10 more rushing touchdowns to the ground. He actually has 43 rushing touchdowns all-time already in his 5th season, which is tied for most in NFL history with the great Hall of Famer Steve Young. And you just look at what he can do. He's got the arm, he's got the accuracy. He's made weapons, out of Ted Ginn, who's become a decent wide receiver. Corey Brown has become another decent deep threat. You always got Greg Olsen, Mr. Reliable. And then you had Devin Funches and Jericho Cotchery being able to work around. And just looking at what Cam can do, I think that the mobility that he has is going to be the biggest advantage for the Panthers to win. Because if the Panthers pass rush can get through that Denver offensive line, which Peyton's and that offensive line has looked horrible during stretches, and they are not really that great. I think Manning got sacked about 2 or 3 times last week against New England. You are going to see Peyton struggle, and I just don't think against this secondary, I just don't think he has enough in his arm to make enough throws that this Panthers defense can capitalize on. And I think Cam Newton has the ability, with his arm, with his confidence, and his legs, to be able to just outdo Peyton by a little bit. The defense is going to play hard. Yes. Are we going to have turnovers? Yes, I expect a turnover by each team. But I just think at the end of the day, when you have Cam's ability in his prime against Peyton playing at almost 40, Peyton's the better story, but right now Cam is playing at the better level. And again, there's part of me that wants to root for both guys because both guys have been, very classy guys, or, for the most part. Cam, represents the new school. Peyton represents the old guard, and you have feelings toward, the other one. But I just think with Carolina, with their motivation, they've been doubted the entire year. And here come the Denver Broncos. And I know people are actually, picking the Panthers. I think they're like a 5.5-point favorite last time I checked. But the Panthers just have that motivation. They're going to look at Denver. They're going to look at everybody saying, oh, we want Peyton Manning to, everybody wants Peyton Manning to go out as a winner. And as much as they, respect Peyton Manning, and they may respect the Denver Broncos, they don't want that feeling to go to them. They want that feeling to go to the Panthers. And they're going to use that as incredible motivation to go against Peyton and lead this team to beat the Denver Broncos. And again, it's going to be a great game. I'm excited for, the defensive battles. There's going to be a lot of trash talking. And there's going to be great, mindsets of, Wade Phillips and Sean McDermott. You're going to have Shula and Kubiak going at it, And it's going to be a great game. And I hope that for Peyton's sake, at least if he loses, that it's not a blowout, because I don't want to see Peyton Manning. I know there are people out there that are, the anti-Manning people, especially big Patriot fans that just, can't understand why Peyton and Brady were always compared. I do believe Brady's better, but I do think that there's enough there that people can make arguments. And also, people just don't like the Patriots in the first place. But when I just look at this game, I have to go with Cam Newton and the Panthers. Just because I've seen this team. They've beaten down Seattle and Arizona. And they've looked incredible doing it. Again, you could argue the second half. It's like, well, they almost collapsed against, Seattle. Well, you could argue that was garbage time. And as much as I appreciated what Russell Wilson did, and as much as I gained a little more respect for him, especially after what the Cardinals did, even though you could argue that the Panthers didn't, lay off the gas this time, I just have to say that the Carolina Panthers on this day will be a little bit better, and Cam Newton will make one more big play than Peyton Manning will be able to. So that's it. So once again, everybody, for the Super Bowl 50, I have the Carolina Panthers winning their first Super Bowl, and the Denver Broncos are going to lose their sixth Super Bowl, which I believe will increase their record of most Super Bowl losses in NFL history. So that's it. So best of luck to the Carolina Panthers, and best of luck to the Denver Broncos. Good luck to all the fan bases. The fan bases, be very, safe and enjoy yourselves. And shout out to Billy B. He's a big Broncos guy that I know, and wish him the best of luck. And Dante Calicero. I know both of you guys are big Broncos fans. This is a big moment to see if that contract and Peyton Manning can be paid off. But unfortunately, just with how I look at it, I just see the Panthers just being able to pull this one out. So, but you guys have fun. Everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. It's great for the halftime. If people like Coldplay, you have Coldplay, you got food, you got commercials, and the game. It's one of the greatest days in America every year. It's Super Bowl 50, and once again, for everybody out there, I'm taking the Carolina Panthers to beat the Denver Broncos. And you know what? I'll give a score. I'm going to say Carolina wins 21, Denver 17. So that's it. And like, comment, rate, subscribe. Please check out the other NFL YouTube prognosticators. Shout out to guys like Gio Knows, Billy B, King Poetic, Dante Calicero, Andrew Warren, the Wise Guys, Michael Stroop and GW, Philadelphia, Andrew Warren, Edwin Lerner, Sean Ryan, Mason Cole, I'm trying to think about Hatbox, and everybody out there. And that's it. So until a little bit down the road, and again, everybody out there, please put in the comment section what other kind of topics. It could be, it could be football related. If you want me to do anything about basketball, anything related, just let me know and put it in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys think is my thoughts. So that's it. So until next time, this is Matt the Fanatic signing off. So long.